What is wrong with footballers? I think the correct YouTube title, if I've got to be honest, is Why Are Footballers Such Bellends? Hello and welcome to another upload. Doing something a little bit different here. I was actually debating doing this video for a while. Maybe not a lot of cases, but for the amount of cases that are literally emerging in a short given time, it is a lot. Footballers do tend to get into trouble, just like us. We get into trouble, they get into trouble, etc. But there always seems to be this, almost like it's a different scenario if it's a footballer that gets involved, which I will touch on that point a bit later on. I think one of the first occasions that I remember a footballer getting into trouble was definitely the Luis Suarez case and the John Terry case. What actually appalled me with that, especially with the Luis Suarez case, was that Liverpool players were actually backing him, and they were even wearing t-shirts saying Suarez is innocent. Only later on, very recently, you know, almost a decade on, for Jordan Henderson to come out and say that the club did it wrong, and for the club for themselves to apologise, saying that they got it wrong. Which, it's always a good thing to see when people own up to, you know, a mistake or poor, ill judgment and own up to it. So the point that I said that I was going to be coming on to later was actually a point from Thogdad on his video that he did with his son Thogden on the Mason Greenwood situation. And the Mason Greenwood situation, really, I thought his point was just really spot on. He pretty much went on and said, footballers are worshipped too much. They are hyped way too much from a very early young age, from even the age of 12, really, when they first started off at youth football. They're hyped up as a next big thing. People would want to hang around with these players, i.e. agents, pals, sponsorships. The list goes on. Thogdad went on to explain that all this treatment is like the God treatment. They are eternal. They are the next big thing. But really, footballers should never ever be treated like gods. Because if you think about it, they have blood, just like us. They've got a brain, just like us. Ultimately, the point is, they are humans. And Thogdad also said that really, when it's a footballer, that don't ever come first. What comes first is that you are a citizen and that the law applies to you just as much as it applies to me and to you and to anyone else watching. It applies to everyone. You're a footballer. You're not a god. And another point that I will be going on to later is because of their god treatment and the extent of how much they're worshipped, people still defend them even if the evidence is pretty damn clear that they are beyond in the wrong. I mean, let's talk about the Mason Greenwood situation to begin with. You know what? Even before that, actually, the Adam Johnson situation. I mean, Adam Johnson was arrested before later on actually being allowed to still play for the club. I guess that meant that people thought he was innocent. But then months later, he literally pleaded guilty. And then, you know, the conversations that were released in that WhatsApp chat to an underage girl was just shocking. It was awful. This wasn't a footballer anymore. This was, not even was, still is a nonce. Someone who preyed on the innocence of a child. But people still backed him. People still defended him. Why? Because he kicks a ball and earns a bit more P than any of us do put together. That's what's dangerous about it. The Mason Greenwood situation, however, was a little bit different because normally when these things happen, it goes to a court case and we are yet to find out the evidence of what actually happened. But with the powers of social media and what Mason Greenwood's ex-girlfriend put on, the audio was there. The photos that she took of herself whilst living with him were there. I mean, I guess I don't really want a court case to be on a Twitter trial, if that makes sense. Really, this should be down to the police, down to the judge, and down to the jury. But the evidence was all there, and it's very safe to say now that Mason Greenwood, his career is over. But that's not even the important part. The most shocking bit is about that girl's life, and the backlash that she shouldn't be getting, but she did get on Twitter from, you know, once again, people who worship Mason Greenwood, football Twitter accounts, immature accounts who are probably under the age of 18 and don't even know the whole concept of no means no. But like I said, this reflects back to the point that Thogdad made. These footballers are just worshipped too much to the point like they're gods, when quite clearly they are not gods. And them backing him is just, I think it's just one of the most ignorant parts of society, really. But it also raises a lot of issues. It makes you actually realise as well, and this shouldn't be the point where people should realise this, but why a lot of women are too scared to go out on their own on night outs or even on a regular day. looking back at the Sarah Everett case. A lot of cases emerging that guys are actually now spiking goals a lot in clubs. This case can hopefully help to open people's eyes, but what I'm still seeing is that it's not opening the eyes of people of having the same energy when footballers do that. Because still, it's always somehow the goal's fault, or we need more context. Well, with all due respect, I'm not sure if you could get any more context in an audio clip that quite clearly shows that he literally treated her like garbage. You can know it for yourself. I don't really need to say it. But people will still back them. And that's what worries me more. I'm not even going to show the tweets. You can see it there for yourself on Twitter. I don't want to really waste my time looking through all the tweets, the shocking, vile tripe that people say, or reasons why Mason Greenwood might be innocent, etc. And he's not the only case, really. This was the same that happened with Luis Suarez, with John Terry, with Adam Johnson. I just don't really want to go through all of that because I don't really like reading that stuff. I mean, it's there on my phone, but I don't really need to go and start wasting my laptop's memory and storing that as backup. So if you don't take my word for it, just look at Twitter. It doesn't even take long to scroll down saying, oh, this guy's innocent. Oh, it's innocent until proven guilty, which, it is. Innocent till proven guilty is still a fair concept. I accept that. But you can't really say those sorts of things when the evidence is just out there and it's clear as anything. But like I said, let the court do it because the trial is not taking place on Twitter. Now, the next emerging thing that really, really got to me was Zouma. Kurt Zouma, West Ham player, former Chelsea player. I'm not even going to play the footage back because the footage is just too shocking and awful to see. Honestly, it's horrendous. Like you see what happens there. He thinks that the cat is basically a toy and treats it like a football, really. Picks the cat up and kicks it and volleys it in the air. In front of a child, by the way. And then when the cat goes back up onto the table or something like that, he slaps the cat really hard. And that just I felt like was like the final straw to make me want to make a video. If you're not new to my channel and you've been there for a while, you would know that my dog was part of the channel a lot. My dog called predictions. Everyone wanted to know really what predictions he was going to be calling for games and this, that, the other, which, he got right a lot. And, I'm at the case now where he's not in my life anymore. Off camera, even though he only got like maybe a maximum of a minute on YouTube, this dog was like everything to me. Patch, I pretty much revolved my routines around Patch, Let's say like no one's in the house. I make sure that I get there so he's not alone. Make sure that he's being walked. Make sure that he's being fed. They're not even pets in my eyes, really. They're part of the family. And you wouldn't be doing any of these sorts of things to your family member. I think there was a time once when I was like mucking around in the garden with a racket and a tennis ball. I went to do a serve, and the ball unfortunately hit Patch, and he started, just by accident, of course, he started whelping and screaming and limping. And I felt awful when that happened. Awful. Like, I can't understand why anyone would want to hit or inflict any pain or harm on their dog or their cat. It's 10 months on since my dog's passing, and I'm not afraid to say that I still sometimes cry about it. I still cry about the loss of someone who was just not a pet to me, someone who was part of the family and in my life for more than 10 years. A lot over 10 years. But then I see this footage of Zouma and some kid just fucking like tossing the cat about, hitting it, slapping it. And all these footballers, for what they did, they got punished for it. But then you see on these tweets, he's not even getting investigated by it. West Ham condemn him. Oh, yay, all right, so what? It's just a slap on the wrist, is it? Which I'm actually pretty sure that is actually against the Animal Welfare Act, and that is punishable. You can even get prosecuted for it. This lady that hit a horse and punched it, she's getting prosecuted as we speak right now. I don't know if there's a verdict yet, but you can feel free to research that and let me know in the comments below. But yeah, Zouma, the police are not investigating into Zouma. All the club have done is condemn him. I don't even know if they fined him any wages. And I'm pretty sure if he was not a footballer and that video was getting shared around and it got the same level of attraction of outrage, which, in my opinion, I think it would do, because people love cats, people love dogs. I'm not a cat person myself, but I can understand that people take equal offense to that happening if, let's say, that happened to that would have happened to their dog. And this just goes back to the point, really. They're treated like gods. They're worshipped way too much, and it's quite clear that the law doesn't apply to them in certain sectors and departments. Just watching that, I've only seen the video twice, and I can't even watch it anymore. And it's the same with the audio with Mason Greenwood. I played it like once or twice. Couldn't get through with it anymore. It's way too horrifying. But because Kurt Zouma is a footballer, by the looks of things, he's not going to even be getting done for it, which I just think is an absolute shocker. And I think this video should really, with any other people that have done a similar video to what I'm doing right now, should really raise to the same point. Don't stick up for someone just because they kick a ball for your club. They're still a person. That they are still equal to you no matter what. It doesn't matter if they earn a lot more of a salary or live a more lavish lifestyle than you do. They are still people. And really, Zouma should be just getting more than just a condemned from the club and a police not being investigated. Those are my thoughts anyway.